اللقاء التاني من مهرجان تورونتو السينمائي الدولي كان مع إيزابيل مكتف. الفيلم ده فيلم بصوا إيزابيل مكتف هي صانعة أفلام لبنانية فرنسية. عملت هي أصلا حاصلة على ماجستير فنون جميلة قسم إخراج وكتابة وصناعة أفلام. فيلمها القصير كان اسمه بيتي. تم عرضه في مهرجان تورونتو السينمائي الدولي في أحد الليالي اللي كان فيها أفلام قصيرة، مجموعة أفلام قصيرة. وعملت لقاء مع إيزابيل أتمنى يعجبكم، هنسمعه دلوقتي سوا. بس الفيلم يتشاف، هو 10 دقايق لربع ساعة، آخر 5 دقايق في anyway هو ربع ساعة أو 10 دقايق، وفي فترة قصيرة جدا اللي هم 10 دقايق ربع ساعة دي اتقال كلام بين السطور في مواضيع كتيرة. هايل الفيلم، و very light hearted كمان، خفيف جدا، مش تافه خالص. عملت بالانس او يعني توازن كده مش سهل خالص، وحسيت ان هو it's effortless او يعني بدون يعني سهل ممتنع قوي. تعالوا نسمع لقائي مع إيزابيل مكتف ونرجع تاني. طيب إيزابيل, let me ask you this. دلوقتي خلوني قبل بس ما عشان اقول سريعا قبل ما تسمعوا الانترفيو، للاسف في التسجيل صوتي ما تسجلش مظبوط، وحاولت ان انا تو بوست على قد ما اقدر، فصوتي ممكن يبقى صعب ان انتوا تسمعوه شويه، بس هحاول على قد ما اقدر ان انا اعلي الصوت لما اجي اسال حاجه. بس للاسف معظم الانترفيو هيبقى فيه تفاعلات انا بقولها، بس الحقيقه ان مش هتبقوا سامعين غير إيزابيل، بس الاسئله هتسمعوها. ف يعني حسيت ان انا محتاجه اقول لكم هيدز اب، صوتي التسجيل بتاعه مش احسن حاجه، بس ما علينا. تعالوا نسمع إيزابيل مكتف عن فيلمها بيتي في مهرجان تورونتو السينمائي الدولي ونرجع تاني. طيب Isabelle, let me ask you this, like right off the bat. Tell me what made you be interested in filmmaking?
Oof. Okay, you're going all out. First thing. Okay, here we go. I don't know. Actually, like I don't have a ready cut answer for that. I just I was in college and I originally wanted to be a writer, like just, you know, books and stuff. And I took a screenwriting class. I mean, I was always interested in films and I loved watching movies and stuff. And then I took a screenwriting class and I was like, oh wait, this is okay. This is good. I can do this. And then I you know, got really close to my screenwriting teacher and she was like, no, you can do this. Like, this is the type of thing that people can do. And it's amazing. And she like worked in the industry and stuff. So she kind of opened my eyes to it. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And here we are.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like, how do you write? I just want to tell our audience who are going to watch this later and listen to it. You have a film called Beity.
Beity, yeah.
That is that is being screened at the Toronto International Film Festival. Obviously a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
How do you write a script for this? Because do you tell the audience what it's about?
Yeah, I mean, we totally can. It's not a secret, you know. So I go to film school, and so this is actually a film school project. And I, you know, going into my master's degree, I know that there was going to be this big second year project where everybody makes a short film, and you know, it's got to be good and whatever. And so I was really stressed about it. And originally, you know, I go to school in New York, and I was like, well, I don't know what I want to talk about. Like, I don't want to be the token Arab kid who's like, you know, making a movie about where they come from in Lebanon. And I kind of like fought that instinct a little bit where I tried to integrate and make stories that I was just like, I don't need to be American to write stories in America. Like, you know, it's just the same thing, you know, it's just like, you can just watch and learn and write, you know, something that feels true. Anyway, so comes my second year around and I'm like, no, I have to do this. Like, this is crazy. Like, why am I shying away from, you know, who I am and where I'm from and the stories that I want to tell, actually. So the story is about a mother who's waiting. It's a day in her life where she's waiting for her daughter to come home. And it's really, what it's really about is, kids leaving a country because there's not a lot of prospects and having to find work or study elsewhere. And what happens is that our parents are left behind. The parents who have given everything to us, who have supported our dreams, who did everything for us, are left behind. And it's kind of a dual thing where they want us to go and succeed, but they miss us so much, and it hurts. And so I kind of wanted to talk about that because I see that a lot. I'm from Lebanon, and pretty much, especially now, a lot of people are just leaving, especially young people, because the situation is not great. And what happens is that parents are left behind. And so I really wanted to talk about that, to kind of honor my parents, and also talk about that's a real thing. Like, that's, we're out there. I'm in New York. I'm living my life. I'm learning, making friends, and then, not that my parents are depressed people, and they're not. It's the character that is in the movie is not my mother at all. I think she would really want me to say that. But it's just like based on, I think, something that the empathy that I tried to feel towards my parents and the parents who are left behind, of like, it must be really hard. And just being stuck in a country where things are really hard for them and wanting you to go elsewhere and succeed, but at the same time, they're just abandoned and they're left behind, and it can make you crazy. And so that's kind of what happens to my character. She kind of becomes a little bit horrible and crazy and, bitter and mean. But I just really wanted to talk about that, and just kind of, that's what I want to talk about.
Cool. Let me just tell you, seeing you talk about it after seeing the film is very fascinating, because there's so much room for the audience to kind of make of it whatever they want to make of it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. What I noticed, it almost felt to me like there was a moment in time where everything was frozen for this mom. The house is kind of like falling apart. She's sort of like kind of sustaining herself. And there is sort of like no sense of progression. Was this kind of something you were going for?
Yeah, I was really going for what you do when you're waiting. And it's really, you just kill time. And as I just really wanted to have that stagnation moment, that it's like a day in the life, but really like nothing happens at all. And, it's winter. And so, the trees are bare and the house is just kind of like falling. Yeah, I wanted to really capture waiting. And then the devastation of what happens when what you're waiting for doesn't actually, happen. So, but it's hard. And I had this list where I was like, okay, what do you do when you're waiting? And, the quickest answer right now is you just stay on your phone. Like, I was like, okay, that is not cinematic. So let's move on from that. So it is that it's stillness. It is about waiting. It is about stillness, and it's about emptiness, really. Not that, people can't live full lives when their kids are gone. And that's not what I'm saying at all. But in this specific case, it's bad. That was this woman's journey. And, just going back to something that you said, which is, interesting. You said, that the film leaves it open to the audience to kind of do their own conclusions. And that was something that was very important to me. I wasn't going to kind of, whether it was the right decision or not is arguable. But
it was the right decision.
But I didn't want to shove down all of Lebanese history in this 10-minute movie where I tell you like, this is why kids are leaving. They're leaving because the economic crisis, because there's no job, because blah, blah, blah. Like, I didn't want to talk about it. Because everybody who's in that movie, those characters, they know that. They don't need to say that out loud. They know that this is the reason. So it felt wrong to have them say it or have someone, in things say, because it is an unspoken truth. The result of that is that, the audience who doesn't necessarily know that can make their own conclusions, but you know what? I'm fine with it. So, yeah.
Yeah. I guess I didn't think about this because I'm Arab myself and I realize all these things, but yeah, that's a really good point actually, that it could be kind of mysterious to someone who doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Why exactly?
Well, it's funny, all of my, Arab friends who saw it or read the scripts, were like, yeah, I get it. And then all of the other people were just like, wait, why? what's happening? Like, why is and then I had to make the decision of like, there's so my friends and people I admire, but I decided, you know what, I'm going to go with that way, the quote unquote Arab audience from like, they will know. And this movie is that for them, I'm not trying to have everybody understand where I'm coming from. Like, this is just a movie that exists right now, hopefully.
So in your opinion, is there a link between motherhood and the homeland? Because I felt that so much in the film.
I mean, yes. I mean, of course, I wouldn't be the first one to say that, obviously. But yeah, of course. And I did focus on the mother as the lead and not, both parents or the father, or not that parents can only be mom and dad, there are different kinds of parents, blah, blah, blah. But in this specific case,
the movie is called Beity, so it's about home.
It is about home.
The mom, so
the main character is mom.
That's why in my head I'm like, there's a link there.
Yeah. That I don't have a very smart answer for that. I think I unconsciously did that because it's for me, my mother was very present in my life and definitely is the one who encouraged me the most and was like always a number one fan. And so she is home. Yeah, like it's just definitely, I mean, my dad is a great guy. I love you. Don't be mad. But there's definitely something there. Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this: the two main female characters, they looked so much alike. I think you were trying to like kind of draw parallels, but at the same time show like how much contrast there can be. So can you go over a little bit to someone who will or has just recently seen the film? Can you go over that relationship and what the similarities and differences are in your opinion as someone who made this?
So the two women who are the leads. So they're Julia Kassar, who's Rula, who's the lead character, and then Nawal Kamel, who plays Alia. So just so people can understand what I'm talking about, the premise is that it's this big house and there's two families. So the family who lives on the top floor is the people who own the house, and the family who lives on the lower floor are also a married couple with a daughter, and they are just household staff. So the husband is handyman, gardener, etc., and the woman is the cook and really just the confidant of Rula, and a character in her own. And so those two women are very similar, and they have a very close relationship. And they're basically family to each other, but there's still that power dynamic. It was funny to see especially the actors like toe the line between friendship, power, boss, or not boss, and so that was really cool. And they look kind of similar, but they're very different people in their approaches to parenthood and to just life in general. Like one of them is just like moping all day long, and the other one is just like, I have things to do. Like I've got to, my life is not over because of this. I'm proud of my child's accomplishments, and that's great. But I will not sit around waiting for them. And so I also wanted to show those two different approaches to how people react to their kids leaving.
Mm-hmm. You played a lot with colors, I noticed. There was a lot of blues and yellows and some reds.
Yeah.
And I most of the time I found that the blues were more with the mother, the yellows were with the husband of the handyman.
Mm-hmm.
I may call him. Dawood. And it seemed like there was some kind of animosity there.
Yeah. Well,
backstory
no,
there.
I don't think there was animosity. It's so funny because I haven't really talked about this film with anyone really, like, or at least not in depth. The questions they're asking, which I love. It's like really exciting. I mean, I wish I could have like a really smart answer to your really smart questions, but literally like the production designer, at least the one on set, was my mother. Like my mother had 5 jobs on this film. Like she was a hair and makeup, she was a producer, she was a production designer. She got breakfast in the morning. Like my mom did like 300 things on this film. It's indie student film and stuff. And she was also, wardrobe with me. And I was like, okay, mom, like I need first of all, we need to decorate this house and then we need to dress the people. And she was like, okay, what do you want? And I was like, I don't know, colors. And, I want basic colors. And she was like, you're not being helpful at all. And then we came up with a system of every room and every character would have a color. And so, the mother, Rola, is blue. And blue-green is where she's going. Her husband is green. She's blue-green. The Alia, the housekeeper, is yellow-blue, and her husband is yellow. And then what we really did is that we had the houses, the two houses decorated and lit differently. So the living room was red, the kitchen was yellow, the bedroom was green, and then kind of cold. And the downstairs apartment would be warmer. So it was a lot of mixing, not basic colors. What are the words for like primal colors? That is not the right word.
Primary colors.
Primary colors. Thank you. With light colors, like tone of light, and warmer, colder, etc. But that's it. It was just it's just because I wanted those visuals and I wanted the characters to be wearing themselves in a way in their clothing and to show their relationships through their clothing. But that's it. I don't really have another, it was just fun and exciting.
The camera work, hold on. There was a whole sort of 70s feel to this. The camera was moving, the zoom ins and all this kind of stuff. Tell me more about what inspired that.
Just my general nerdiness and the DP's nerdiness. We are both. So first of all, we shot on 16 millimeter, which was super exciting. And
explain what that is.
16 millimeter film is just pellicule. What's the word? Analog, basically. We shot on analog, so it's not digital at all. It literally transposes onto the actual film that we had to, on the negatives that we had to get developed, and that meant two things. One, that we didn't have a lot of film because film is really expensive. So we didn't have a lot of it, so we had to be really intention. We had to have a lot of intention behind every shot, and we had to rehearse it a lot to not waste any film. And so that means that we basically went through a list of all of our shots about how we're telling this movie. And both her and I, love, movies from the 60s and 70s and the zoom in and the split screen and, the grainy feeling of the film camera. And so we kind of just went all out where we're like, look, we're making this movie. The location is beautiful. We have access to this film through school and so let's go all out. Let's go crazy. Let's do all of the things that we love about cinema and let's just do it. And so we planned everything and those were all definitely intentional. And, I think we're showing off sometimes a little bit because we're just like, look what we can do with a camera, but it just comes out of excitement really. So, maybe the next one I'll tone it down a little bit, but I love it. I mean, it was so exciting.
Yeah, no, it makes it stand out because we're now so used to the next shot. It's just
yeah, everything was so intentional.
Sometimes we're moving from one character to the other, or you're zooming in onto the cigarette that she's smoking, and really showing us how zoning out, right?
Yeah, and that's really the DP, Melanie Okoka, who's just brilliant, who I would just come in with those crazy ideas, and then she would get even crazier ideas, and we would merge them, and then she would somehow make it happen. So she was brilliant, and it was really exciting to film. Really, really fun.
Well, tell her she did a great job.
She knows.
Okay. Because I felt this was a very woman-centric story.
Mm-hmm.
Who are the women that inspire you in your life? That you may have gotten some, they kind of informed these characters.
I think, obviously my mom, my aunts, her friends, the women that I grew up around, my grandmother, just watching them, the way they interact with each other, the way they interact in society, which is always different than the way they interact at home. Not always, but it's different. I think it's a lot of, understanding it's just watching. So really women in my family, and then just anybody that you just know. And it's just this little thing where if I see somebody do something interesting, I automatically write it down in my folder called characters. And so and then at some point I don't even know where it comes from. I'm just like, oh, I saw this person, scratch their nose in this way. I thought it was interesting, and I wrote it down. And then, next film, one character does that, so it's kind of a mix of just things that I notice, and then, women in my life. And also, I'm also very inspired by fictional women, characters in films that I've watched that I love, like, any film by Chantal Akerman, Lucretia Martel. Like, I love these women, Lynn Ramsey. Like, I think their characters are amazing, and I look at their movies, and I strive for that. And I'm like, it's definitely something that I would love to be able to do the way they do it.
I'm gonna steal the whole characters.
Yeah, it's great. It's just, it takes 2 seconds on your phone.
Yeah, I see things happen this way, but I never put it down. And then I have to remember later when I'm writing, and I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, which is, I don't remember anything. Like, I have the worst memory in the world, so I have to write everything down, which sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, and then I always regret it.
Okay, so what does it mean to you that this film is in TIFF? The Toronto International Film Festival.
Yeah, it's insane. I'm just like, what? It's cool, thanks. It's confusing, it's overwhelming, it's insane. I'm so excited. It's just to be even able to talk about it with people like you, and have people interested in it and watch it and ask me all this, like, it's insane. Like, I don't even know how to handle it, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, I'm very excited. It means so much. And now I'm like, all right, this is good. People like this one, I'm gonna make another one. So now I'm like, thinking, what's next? Yeah. Oh, was that a question?
No, yes, that's a question.
Okay.
Or are you maybe thinking about a feature or something?
I am working on a feature. So I've written a feature. I've been writing it for the past year. And I think it's in good shape right now. It's a political satire about the inefficacy of government and bureaucracy that leads to an explosion. I don't know if you think that's inspired by anything that's happened recently in Lebanon, but basically, I'm making. I want it to be entertaining and funny, but poignant. So It's a satire, and I'm angry. I'm so angry at everything, but I want it to be funny, and I want to destroy them. Casually. But yeah, so I've got plans, but we'll see. We'll see if anybody's interested in that.
There's something else I wanted to ask you in there. Oh, music.
Yeah.
Tell me more about your choice for this song by Adonis.
The credit, yeah, Denise. First of all, I love Adonis. Like, they're a fantastic band, and went to see them when I was a teenager, and I absolutely love their music. They're a Lebanese band, and now I know a couple of them, and I was really struggling to find an end credit song, because that shot at the end, that lasts for like 4 minutes. And I on purpose didn't put a lot of music throughout the film, because I wanted the silence. I wanted the stillness. I wanted silence. I didn't want to put, anything onto it. I wanted you to feel how she feels in this deafening silence almost. So I didn't put really any music there, except the dream sequence. And so at the end, I wanted something to kick in. I wanted that emotion to come out and to feel, and almost for the audience to be like, oh yeah, there was no music in this film. Like, that's just kind of weird. Yeah. Because that's and so I wanted something wholly Lebanese. I wanted something fun, like this movie is there's a lot of sadness, and I wanted something fun and poppy a little bit and kind of cool, and I thought of this band, and I just loved them, and I reached out, and I was like, hey guys, can I use your music in my film? And they were like, I don't know, can you show us your film? which is fair. I'm sure a lot of people asked them that. And they saw it and they liked it. And they said, all right, this is the music that we own as a band, as opposed to a record label owning it, which was their 2 first albums, which is great because I love those albums. And they said, pick any song from there that you want and you're good to go. And I was like, thank you very much. And I picked that one because I love that song. If you know, it's sad, it's Noha Mohamed, and it's just like just being on top of that and just living life and watching the city and just like, and Adonis is a region in Lebanon, in Beirut. So I just love that song. And I used to listen to it on repeat when I was a teenager. And so I was like, that's it. That's the song I'm gonna use.
You do suddenly realize, oh, I guess there was no music, but definitely still.
Yeah.
Okay, I asked you about what your plans are. How can people follow your work? That's my final question to you. How can people who are going to watch this and listen to this follow your work outside of the festival?
That's lovely. I'm kind of like, Instagram and social media challenged. In that I have Instagram, I know how it works. I scroll through it all of the time, but I just don't post a lot, which I'm told is a very, very bad thing in this industry. I just never feel like I have anything interesting to say. I'm just like, I'm making movies, like you get it, right? Like that's it. Moving on. I'm like so bad at self-promotion. It's like
making the art.
Exactly, but no, I have Instagram and it's just my full name, Isabelle Mecattaf, and that's pretty much it. I mean, I have a website that I guess I should update. I'm terrible. Like, I'm pretty sure this is how I will figure out that I've become successful. Like, I'm just like, if I can get someone
else
to do that for me, and in a non-obnoxious way, that'll be like, I'll be like, oh my God, I've succeeded. I made it.
Honestly, me and you both.
It's just so hard to engage with. Like, I don't know how to get my place in. I'm just like, never mind. Yeah, I'm good.
I know. I feel like it's easy to consume, but not so much as easy to.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm getting better. I posted a thing about TIFF, so I was pretty proud of myself.
I saw that. I was pretty cool. Thank you so much, Isabelle.
Thank you.
تغطية كالجري بالعربية لمهرجان تورونتو السينمائي الدولي برعاية مجتمع فن أو الكالجري Arab Arts and Culture Society. مجتمع فن بينظم إيفنتس وفعاليات منها فنية وثقافية، منها الموسيقى والشعر والكوميدي والفنون الجميلة وكمان الأفلام. من أهم فعاليات مجتمع فن كل سنة هو مهرجان الفيلم العربي في كالجري، والسنة دي ممكن تتابعوا المهرجان ومجتمع فن في أكتوبر 2021. شكرا مجتمع فن لرعاية كالجري بالعربية.